What's up, everybody? Welcome back to this week's YouTube Live and the podcast. Man, it's been a while. It's been a while since I seen some of y'all. Feels like yesterday, but it's 2025. Whew, that's hard to say because we made it. It's January. We're starting off a new year, new resolutions. Uh, so this year's resolution, I'm going to shoot more ducks. How about that? We'll see how that goes. You never know how that's going to turn out. But hopefully y'all have had a good couple hours into the new year. So welcome to the Waterfowl Den. My name's RD. So let's get started this week. I want to check, make sure my live is going. It's going good. Um, let a couple people get in here. So last week we didn't have a live. Last week was Christmas Day, so I decided not to do one on Christmas Day. But hopefully everybody got to spend some time with their loved ones and family, and over the holidays, maybe get some hunting in. We got some hunting done over the holidays, and we'll talk about it for sure. A lot to talk about this week. There's a lot going on. First thing I want to start off with is uh, thinking about the people in New Orleans, um, the terrorist attack, all the people that died, the ones that are hurt, injured. Um, Definitely want to keep them in our thoughts and prayers. Um, safety of all people um, is crazy. I mean, we're just starting out the new year and already crazy things going on in the news. So, want to start the show off with that to start with. We're going to talk a little bit of hunting, a little bit of football, a little bit of weather, and who knows where this squirrel moment might go to. But welcome, Jay. How you been, buddy? Um, so let's talk a little bit about hunting. Um, we went hunting. Let's see, probably the Saturday. I got to cover that. That's correct. So, the last thing we talked about, I was working up to getting ready to go on our draw hunt. Me and my two buddies, we got picked for the lottery for the South Carolina Delta West, and that's what I was talking about. Man, I was building it up. I was ready to go. I was hyped. Um, Created the beginning of a video, and y'all will never see that video. It was nothing there. Um, we get there and we meet. So starting with, we have to go to the coast, so that was like a 3 hour drive. We had to be there at 5, and you didn't want to be late, so we got there at around 4:15, 4:30, something like that. We were met with two guys that worked there. Rick was the guy who was over our group, and you had West and East, and a couple groups were on the other side of the street. But we were met with two super nice South Carolina DNR employees. They wasn't game wardens; they were more management people. They were still employed by the state. Um, super cool people to talk to. Um, we get loaded up. We getting stuff ready, and you had on the Delta side, had a chance to hunt timber or the marsh. And since one of our buddies was running a little bit late, not like after 5, like I said, we got there like 30 minutes early. He was just running like 10 minutes behind us. We made him pick. So he puts his hand in there and he pulls it out, and we pick timber. So we get loaded up and we drive through the game management area. We get out of the truck, and the Rick's talking about, hey, there's tons of woodies. And when I say there were tons of woodies, you could hear them. They had to be roosting in them woods. I mean, they were just whistling like crazy. Like, I've never heard, when it's shooting time and you hear woodies buzzing you and stuff. It was like that times 10. And I'm like, yeah, this is gonna be, yeah, this is what it's all about. So we head across a little creek. We get in the boat. The creek was almost the distance of the boat, but a little bit more than that. That's how they kept everything flooded. I guess it technically wasn't a creek, might be a levee. But we get in the boat, we cross, get all our stuff, and you carry everything in with you, decoys and all. So we got some jet sleds that were carrying in our decoys. We set up. It was shooting time. Man, like I said, man, these wood ducks were like buzzing and like everywhere. Shooting time. My buddy was over here, and I got it on camera, which, like I said, you're not going to see it because this was the highlight of the video. Here I am trying to, count down. Hey, a couple minutes before shooting time. All right. Well, I go to put my GoPro on. I turn it on. He's like, all right, it's shooting time. Y'all boys ready? Y'all boys ready? Here comes two. Comes straight down in front of us. Here I am. The GoPro comes up. He goes boom, boom, drops two wood ducks. And that was the only two birds that were shot all day. No big birds came in. Now, granted, it was very warm. Like, I don't even remember the temperature. But if you hunt in South Carolina anytime in the past couple of weeks, hunting's been very rough in South Carolina. People would say, I wonder where the birds have went, because that's how rough it's been. So we stayed out there for a couple hours, and we got picked up and went back to the check-in station. Literally, another wood duck, I don't know, like 2 hours later, flew in, and I was looking this way, and by the time I saw the wood duck in my eye, when I stood up to have to shoot around a tree, it was just like a Hail Mary kind of shot. That was the only shot I took. And when I went to unload my gun, my shell flipped into the jet sled, which had water in it. And I'm like, the shell went completely under the water. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not shooting this shell. So, whole total trip, 2 shells. That was our draw. Um, Again, it was super, super hot. By the end of the day, we were already down to taking our jackets off. Um, per them, picking uh, the deltas later in January would have been better, but you know how a lottery is. Um, Luck of the draw. Honestly, we were just glad to actually get something, but kind of disappointed all at the same time. But per meeting the people who work there, great time. I mean, Rick there, I mean, he was a retired military, and he was a hoot, man. That joker would be fun to talk to any time of the day. But uh other than that, we always base our trip off of what we're going to eat. We stopped at this mom and pop restaurant, and I have never had a hamburger BLT. I mean, if you in the South, our bacon, lettuce, tomato, usually on triangle. and it's like 3 layers of bread per like toothpick, and you got big tomatoes and bacon. And this one had hamburger on it, like a regular hamburger that you would eat. But it was so big, like that I kid you not, it was that big, and I'm like, how? Like even when I tried to squish it, I couldn't get it small enough to eat. So I took a couple of pieces of bread off, and really good fries. Like I said, we base our hunts off of some of the places we eat. Great place. Couldn't tell you where it was. Had no idea where I was at. We were in, I think, Georgetown somewhere off of a 4 lane that turned into a 2 lane. Couldn't tell you anything about it, but it was a great restaurant. Um, so Christmas comes, then we go hunting. I took Thursday and Friday off. The wife and the kids were out, so I took Thursday and Friday off. We went hunting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. One of them days we went to Santee, and typically we see wood ducks, and it was a no show. Neither one of us shot anything. Like we didn't even pull the trigger, and it was wow again, like a letdown. So again, where do we go? We go to, I think that's Battens right there. When you come out of past Jack's Creek, keep on going a little bit at the railroad track, Battens, and we had ourselves some good breakfast. But I mean, just like another day of disappointing. So then the next day we go to the coast, same thing. I'm on day 3 and not even pulling the trigger. Worst case, I'm saving ammunition. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. Eating gas, but not getting anything to show for. Uh, so I had a couple hours left. I went into work Monday. I hunted our local watershed. Nada. Um, the way that we had the decoys and the way the wind was blowing, we thought it was going to be prime. 2 birds landed like 100 yards outside of the decoys, and that was it. Nothing else. So I'm like, man, what in the world is going on? Let's see. That would have been Monday. Somewhere along the way, we went back to the coast. All these days are getting ran into each other. It's what happens when you get old. That's why I tell these boys, they're a little bit younger than me. I keep telling them, man, when they get in their 40s, this getting up at 1 o'clock in the morning gets old real quick. But we went to the coast someday. I think it was Sunday. Might have been Saturday. One of these days we went to the coast and it rained. What day was that? I don't remember. But we sit in the rain and it rained all day long. I felt like Forrest Gump when he's talking about, and then it just started raining, and it was raining sideways, and it was raining up. Like I got a Drake 3-in-1 jacket. That's the one that's got the jacket, and then you can put the other jacket on top, waterproof zip. Like by the end of the day, my pockets were full of water, my arms were wet, my shirt was wet. Like the jacket could not take any more water. My blind bag had 2 inches of water inside the blind bag because where you got your zipper, the flap that zips over. It was just raining. I mean, it was pretty chaotic, but couldn't get any video on that because you couldn't set up GoPros and cameras in the rain. But we're sitting there, we're in the marsh, and 2 birds fly in, and my buddy shoots at one. I drop the other one, and so I got my first shoveler. Too bad it was a hen, but that was my first shoveler I've ever shot. So that was pretty cool. So moving forward, we're now on New Year's Day. So last night I went to bed pretty early. I told the wife, I said, if you want me to ring in the new year, would you wake me up? Well, she didn't have to wake me up because the neighborhood woke me up. If you have ever hunted uh, on the game management down at Hickory Top at Santee, and you know what shooting time sounds like, that's what my neighborhood sounded like. It sounded like World War 15 out there. I don't know. We may be broke, but whoever was shooting all the fireworks, they were not broke, because I mean, it was like, wow. It woke me up from a dead sleep. I'm like, man, what time is it? It was 12:01. I woke up. I got out of the bed. I walked in the den, and the wife and the kids were there. They were like, Happy New Year. I'm like, Happy New Year. Love y'all. I went back to bed. So that was how I ringed in the new year. Um, Went back to bed, and I got up at 1 o'clock this morning because we were going to the coast. Picked my buddy up at 1:30, and off to the coast we went. And we've been hey Jeff, we've been eyeballing this one spot every time we go to this particular place. We see birds flying there, flying there, flying there, and we always say, hey, when the tide is right, that's where we want to go. And that's what I mentioned before with kayak duck hunting, especially the coast. You got to get the tides right. My buddy, there's one buddy is really good at reading tides. Like he is, could be that his military kicks in, or he can just understand the tides. Um, you can't just say, "Hey, I'm going to the coast tomorrow," because when you go to the coast, there may not be no water in the marshes. So it was working out at our benefit that low tide was going to be right by the time we get to the landing. By the time we get everything unloaded, uh, high tide was going to start coming back in, which it did. We had to wait maybe 20 minutes before we could get the kayaks in the water. We started going, hit a couple, you know, mud flats there, got going, and I felt like we kayaked 15 miles, but it really wasn't, probably but a mile. And we finally got to the spot that we have been wanting for, like, I know, 2, maybe 3 years. And it's literally just because it's so far away. And we set up this morning, had the decoys out. That was about it. Um, Beautiful sunrise. But that's what we always say in South Carolina when we don't get no birds. Man, it was a beautiful sunrise. But when you're sitting out there, it is pretty amazing. Like, first you're sitting up under the stars, then you see the sun come up, and it's just like, wow, we're just literally a tiny speck on the dot of this big old earth that all this happens. I mean, it's just crazy to be out there. But where we was positioned, I was looking towards our back. My buddy was looking towards the front, and my other buddy was looking towards the right. And the middle guy turns around and looks the same way that I'm looking. He's like, "Man, I just don't get it. Where are the ducks?" And when he turned around, he was like, "They're right here." And when I turned to grab my gun, 10, 10 yards, maybe. Like, literally, I could have threw the shell at the bird. That's how close that bird got to us. And the way the bird was and where my buddy was, he already had his gun because I'm looking backwards. I just went like that because I knew he was going to shoot. Both of them shoot. They lay into him. Didn't even cut a feather. I would probably turn that video into a short because it is pretty funny. Didn't even cut a feather. We sit there, tide comes up. I don't know, maybe an hour later. Little Drake bufflehead comes in. Um, they take the bufflehead, and that's about the gist of today. But the hard part was kayaking back in. Oh my gosh, the wind down there at the coast was like 452 knots. I mean, it was brutal. I have a sit-in type kayak. Mine's actually a hybrid. I use the Ascend H10 kayak. Um, it's a hybrid. It looks like a canoe, but it's flat on the bottom, so it's basically like a kayak. And canoe had a baby, and it's a hybrid. That's where the H comes from. They use sit on tops kayaks. With the sit on top kayak, they can actually, and they're 5, 6 years younger. Uh, when they go, they just walk off from me kayaking. Mostly because my boat's sitting lower in the water because just the way the boat design is. But on the way back, it was so windy. I mean, I was by the time I got to the landing, I was ready to sell the kayak, the gun, the shells, and just give up duck hunting. That's how tired I was. I got my exercise in for the whole year. Um, but we left, and again, we got to get something to eat, so we stop at the old Waffle House and get the old All Star breakfast and make it on back to the house. But that's what I've been up to hunting lately. Like I said, the draw hunt was a bust, and you never know. Like I said, it was warm, and talking about temperatures that's coming this weekend and next weekend, we're like, dang, why couldn't we had that then? And it's hard to plan dates. Just same way when you go to a guided hunt, um, it's just a luck of the draw. It's just literally what it is. But got home, able to watch some football games today. Um, if you know, if you listen to the channel much, you know that I'm a I'm a Gamecock fan. Um, but boy, did my Gamecocks look terrible yesterday. I mean, a couple of days before their bowl game, they went down to Disney and were riding roller coasters. I mean, it looked like it must have took every bit of their energy out of them because they look pitiful. That first quarter, I mean, it just looked like they were just like, well, we're here and it's just whatever. Uh, After the halftime, third quarter come around, boy, something lit into them. I was like, yeah, now here comes my Gamecocks because, we can't play two good quarters. We can only play one good quarter. And I don't know. I don't know what happened to them. They look terrible. But the Baylor and the LSU game, that was a pretty good game. Then the Penn State and the Boise State was really good. But if you watch football today, that Texas and Arizona State game, oh my gosh, that was a nail biter all the way to the end. Like we were going to go eat New Year's with my mother. I'm like, I had to call her and tell her, hey, I'm gonna be late because now they done went into overtime. Uh, Texas was ranked number 4. Arizona was ranked 10th. And at the beginning, Arizona was taking it to Tennessee, Texas like it wasn't nobody's business. Um, then once they went into overtime, Texas pulled it on out, but whew. And then after that, the the Ohio State and the Oregon game. Ohio State is ranked 6. Oregon's ranked 1. Number 1. They looked as the game ain't over yet, but they look about as pitiful as my Gamecocks. I mean, like, I think they could have put the cheerleaders out there and probably done a better game than what they're playing. Ohio just started scoring on them. They're in the fourth quarter with almost 2 minutes left. It's 41-21. That's pretty much going to knock Oregon out. So looking like Texas and Ohio State is definitely going on to the quarterfinals. The other game that would have been played tonight would have been the Notre Dame and the Georgia game. I know Jay is a big Georgia fan. Well, obviously he's from Georgia, so I mean there's that. But uh, that game was in Louisiana. I don't know which stadium, but it got canceled tonight due to the terrorist attack with the truck driving through. So they canceled all that for tonight. So that game got moved to tomorrow at 4 p.m. So, I wish it was after 4 p.m. I'm not rightly sure where they pulled 4 p.m. out. I mean, like, people work. Like, couldn't they done like 6? I mean, it's in the same time zone, so I don't know. But it would have been nice if they did a little bit later. But I'm anticipating that's going to be a really good game. So Jay, I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to pull for Georgia this time. I'm going to be like, go Dogs. But I think Notre Dame ain't going to go out lightly either. So, I mean, if you watched any college football this season, nothing makes sense. Like, the teams that should have lost dominated these big teams. The big teams just choked. I mean, it has been one crazy season for sure. There's plenty more bowl games that got to come on. You got a Gator Bowl tomorrow. That's going to be Duke and Ole Miss. That's at 7:30, and then on the 3rd, you got the First Responder Bowl, which is North Texas and Texas State. You got the Duke's Mayo Bowl. That's Minnesota and Virginia Tech. And then on the 4th, you got Buffalo and Liberty. I mean, that game's at 11 o'clock, Bahamas. January 6th, you got North Dakota State and Montana. So there's still a little bit of football games going on. I really like watching college football. Highly enjoy it, but my Gamecocks are out. So I have no one to pick. I usually go for the underdog or whatever boohoo story that they try to talk about before the game starts. Like, you know what I'm talking about. Billy Bob had a sprained ankle and he had to have emergency surgery on his toe, and now he's playing. I kind of pull for the underdog, but we shall see. But as a true Gamecock fan, that we're just rebuilding. I really think that they got a good team going. I think going forward, South Carolina is definitely going to get better. Can't wait to see them, next year. But 30 seconds left. Ohio State pretty much got rid of them Ducks. It may be the only Duck today that's went down. How about that? But talking about weather earlier with the draw hunt, pretty much today it wasn't that cold. Once the sun comes up, we've been around 50, 60 degrees. Honestly, I watch a lot of weather. I love listening to these people predicting weather. There's a good handful of people that I truly listen to, that when they say it's going to, it usually happens. And a couple of them have been tracking this snowstorm that's going to be coming down from Canada for weeks now. I've been watching it. Uh, how bad is it going to be for South Carolina, the Carolinas, Georgia area? That's up for debate. Um, Regardless, when that swoops down from Canada, the wind chill is going to be unbelievable. Like Texas coming like Monday into next week, Texas may be into single digits. If y'all remember a couple years ago when Texas got into single digits, all that power problems they had. Uh, but that's just Texas. I've seen some of these states around Canada. They talking about a -30 and a -40 wind chill. Like, I don't have enough duck gear to put on to survive -30 and -40 wind chill. Like, that is, I mean, I don't, that's like Antarctica to me. I mean, here in the South, we get down to freezing, everything about shuts down. I mean, they almost cancel school when it gets down to sub temperatures. But it was looking like Sunday would be the time that um, it was going to start rolling into the Carolinas. If what I'm seeing now is that's getting pushed back to a little bit like Sunday night into Monday morning. Um, they throwing around the S word, snow. Um, Me personally, I don't feel like our chances of snow will be this weekend. We may get some sleet, we might get some ice, and literally ice is the worst thing we can get. I'm not sure where y'all are from, but mostly in the South, we have power poles, and they do not like freezing rain. The tree limbs get heavy, trees fall, they knock down the power lines get heavy, they start sagging. If you in a big city or subdivision, you know all your power lines are under the ground. But when you're out in the country, uh, they don't put them under the ground because literally they go miles sometimes before the next house. So we get exposed to freezing rain, a lot of things, a lot of power outages. So I don't know. Like I said, today's Wednesday. They're predicting somewhere Sunday night, Monday morning. That's still 3 days, 3, 4 days out. I don't know. It's definitely something to keep our eyes on, but it's the next weekend is what I'm looking at. That's when we have the biggest potential for snow. So I don't know. I would say go ahead and start now would be the good time to start preparing. Make sure you got your stuff ready. You need to make sure you got chargers and stuff like that. Um, if you got generators, go ahead and crank them up because I don't know. It's going to be very interesting. By this time next week, when we have the live, um, things will be lined up a whole lot more um, in the area of knowing how this weather pattern is going to go down. But when you're talking a Arctic blast from Canada, um, it's going to be crazy. Like North Dakota, South Dakota. Let's look at some of these temperatures here. So right now in North Dakota it is 6 degrees. So come this coming week, when the wind chill, they're high for Saturday in North Dakota. The high -2, the low -11. I'm like, what the hell do you do in the -11 degrees? Like, my F-250 wouldn't start in -11 degrees. I know that thing don't even have a block warmer. That's how you know you go on a diesel in the South. It don't even have a block warmer on it. If you don't know what a block warmer is, you plug it in, it keeps your engine warm. But starting Friday in North Dakota, 1 degree, -2, 1 degree, 6, 0, 8, 11, 6. That's like no wind chill. That is just the temperature. Right now, like I said, in North Dakota, it is 6 degrees with a wind chill of a -11. I mean, that's crazy. Let's go down to Iowa. Let's come down here to right. I'm gonna put it right on Nebraska Iowa line. Right now it's 31. Come Sunday, high of 19. Monday 13, high of 12. And again, that's without wind chill. Missouri, let's put it down here. Missouri, Kentucky, Tennessee area. 32 right now. Come Saturday, Sunday, they're gonna be in the 20s and 30s. I mean, that's crazy. That's gonna be some dangerous weather for sure. I don't know. We shall see. Like I said, it's a little too far out now. So Jeff, if you're still listening, um, I believe you're going to be on the warmer side of things, but man, it looks like y'all might be getting some snow right now anyway. So, um, one good thing that this is going to do, if it is pushing that from Canada down, Nebraska, especially down that Mississippi flyaway, if all that's coming down with that wind chill, it's going to push them birds. It's either going to push the birds more towards like Texas area, or is it going to push the birds more the Atlantic flyaway? I don't know. All I can say is Saturday we're gonna go hunt, and we just play it by ear and see what happens. Um, you know what they always say, when the ponds get froze, you go to big water. Jeff says we're going to be in the single digits for highs. I mean, that is crazy, and that's single digits for highs. That's not even wind temperature, and that's what gets me is that wind, man. You can dress to get warm, but that wind will cut through you like a knife. So all I can say is stay hydrated for sure. Jay says got buddy that left last night for Arkansas. If he's going to Arkansas and he's going to hunt before like Wednesday, he might be pretty good. After Wednesday, all I can say is anybody in the Mississippi right now, you better be making sure your ice eaters are warmed up. So Jeff says snow tonight and Sunday. Yeah, I can believe it. I'm looking at the radar now, and it's looking like that moisture is coming off the coast of California and Washington and going to suck in. I don't know. Depends on which weather person you listening to. Are they are they throwing around the S word snow to get clicks? I mean, are they putting that in the title? Hey, bad snow's coming, or is it like real? Like, is it going to be? I don't know. We're gonna find out in the next couple of days for sure. Like I said, that what I feel like the majority of our storm, that if we do get some snow here in South Carolina, I think it's going to be around January 9th through like the 15th time period. I hope we do get some snow because I'm pretty sure it was like every state in the United States, minus Hawaii, but every state in the United States last year got snow, I think, except like South Carolina and somewhere else. Like nowhere in South Carolina did this snowfall. So maybe this is our year. What I was reading was it's going to be like 1994 snowstorm that we had. So I got thinking about that. I was like, well, man, I was in high school. I don't remember it. There's way too many new wrinkles that has gone by, and yeah, I can't remember. Did we have snow in '94 or not? But um, we shall see. Jay says we'll be lucky if we see a flake. Jeff says the Arctic blast starts Sunday. Local weather guy says Sunday is the one to watch. Yeah. So, man, I just don't know. Like if Jeff is out there and it's starting Sunday, that would be typically, 3-4 days before we even get it. So I don't. I don't know. I'm not taking it lightly. Like I said, the handful of weather people that I watch on YouTube uh, started predicting this stuff 2 weeks ago and was saying, y'all better get ready because, this is going to be something. And then last week they started throwing around these wind chill temperatures. Um, so we shall see. That's all I can say. It's definitely going to be dangerous. So if anybody that is able to check on others, definitely check on your neighbors. I mean, you don't have to be a millionaire to check on your neighbor. That costs $0 to be a good neighbor. Check on your elders. So it's going to be very interesting. Like I said, by the time we talk next week, um, things are definitely going to be. We're going to be in the midst of it. Like we either going to be really cold, and we're going to know what's going on, or man, I don't know. Jay said we took that hurricane lightly. I won't get caught like that again. Yeah, Jay's talking about the hurricane that came into Florida, Helene, and went devastated Georgia, parts of South Carolina, and like wiped out um, a bunch of towns in North Carolina and Tennessee. Um, yeah, I mean, y'all know me. I was talking about that hurricane weeks before it came in, and I was like, y'all got to be prepared. I'm telling you, this going to be winds are going to be bad. It's going to be this area right here. And it was the same people that I've been following on this storm. They were talking about this 2 weeks ago. It's basically everything's lining up. So I don't know. We shall see. Yeah, well, Jeff, that's all. That is exactly everything goes up before a storm comes. um, yeah, I used to work for a natural gas, so yeah, um, it's how it goes. It's pretty cool though, especially out in Oklahoma. when we were riding through Oklahoma, and you see them rigs out there. You'll see the containers or the storing containers of where they're storing the oil, and then you see the where they getting the propane off, where they're pulling both of that as they're getting it out of the earth, and them setups are really impressive. How they separate the oil, separate the natural gas, and send it to the refineries right there as it's coming straight out of the ground. It's really cool to see that. So, what y'all up to? Y'all had any good hunts? I mean, Jeff, if you in single digits, unless you got ice eater out there and a bonfire, man. Um, what's some of y'all's New Year's resolutions? My wife gave me one. It's to lose 20 pounds. So probably need to, but that was her resolution for me. I don't even know how that happens. Um, so that's one resolution. I definitely got some other ones that I'm going to be working on. At least make it past January before some of them get broke. But we're gonna start this year off with some good hunts. That's what I'm looking for. Here in South Carolina, our season runs out in January, so literally we got 4 weekends left. Um, this weekend, it being Saturday, I don't think the cold weather's gonna be here yet. Sunday, probably not cold yet. Monday, when it's raining, that's probably when it's gonna be cold. So maybe we could see some birds. Like I said, I don't know. It's been very iffy. Seen a bunch of people, um, you know, at restaurants and stuff, be like, "What'd y'all get today? Nothing. Did y'all even see anything? Man, we ain't seen nothing." So it ain't just us. Um, Jay said, "Got to do better." Yeah, on a diet. Yeah, I understand that one completely, Jay. Um, we both probably need to work on that myself. But yeah, these trying to keep up with these young boys, man. I'll tell you what. Um, like I said, today I got up at like 1:15, something like that. I'm feeling it. I ain't even gonna lie. I'm feeling it. Like I'm dragging. Like dragging. I kind of wish that I would have gotten duck hunting like in my teens and my 20s, not in my late 30s. But just said we're in the 30s until Sunday, but we are closed in my area for duck, geese. It's open, but not worth hunting. The few that are here. Well, I'm glad you brought up goose, Jeff. So what day? Like it is crazy how you get days off and time runs together. Um, Tuesday, which would have been the last day of the year. Where I work, you gotta um roll over hours in 4 hour increments. I had 2 hours. So I was like, hey, can I just come in 2 hours late? I'm just going to go over to a family pond, which has like wood ducks and stuff. I really didn't care to killing wood ducks, but it's always nice to go be out in nature, listen to the wood ducks, man. I love when they're whistling. So I have a permanent blind there. It's on a 4x6, 4x7 trailer, something like that. So I got a YouTube video on it. It's just a ATV type trailer that I took the gate off and I made pallets and I took a toolbox that would be in the back of a truck and I screwed it to the floor and that's the bench and it goes over your head and down and you can pull it in and out of the woods and it's got chicken wire and it's got trees and leaves and everything else on it. But I keep my decoys in there because it's local. There ain't nobody gonna steal it. Um, I had the bright idea of I could open the toolbox, put all the decoys in it, and shut it. But the lazy kicks in, and I just throw them in there. But in that trailer, I probably have probably a dozen full body geese decoys. And at that pond, not particularly the pond, but the cow pasture, which is about 100 acres or a little bit more than that, there's typically geese flying over. They're not, and they're just residential geese. They're not migrant geese. They're just residential. And I usually hunt them early season, and then we get a late season in February, and that's when the full bodies come out. I really, really, really want to get some silhouettes, just because you could put out a bigger spread with a whole lot less time. But I was going to sit on the bench, and there were two full bodies. So I took two full bodies and I just set them out in the grass, thinking I got to have a place to sit. And if I take them out of the blind, I might as well just put them over here. Well, I put them over there and I'm waiting. Shooting time comes. I'm waiting to hear some wood ducks. And I hear honk. I said, is that geese? Like this early? Honk. So I start welling on the call. These two geese come perfectly in. They land on the water about 150 yards out. And I'm like, well, I can't do nothing to that. And they get up to the bank, and you see their head, because I got my decoys on the land, and you see their head. They go below the grass and above the grass, below the grass, above the grass, because they were looking at the decoys. And I'll honk every now and then when they put their head down. And when the bird lifts his head up and the decoy didn't move, I mean, they might not be the smartest animal there is, but they ain't dumb either. So they stay in the water. They finally swim back close, and I'm like, well, here's my chance. I shoot, pretty good pattern. The bird takes off. I shoot at the other one. It didn't stop. I shoot again. Didn't even cut a feather. Like 3 shells, nada. I'm like, what in the world? It's like 50 yards. Like, should have knocked them down. Like, at this time, the first shell was a water swat. The other two was about that high off the water. Well, you can't see that. There you go. About that high off the water when it's taking off. Like, textbook, what the heck is going on? And they fly away. I'm like, man, what in the world? With that being said, I'm on my backup gun because when I went to Oklahoma hunting that peanut field, my Maxus was destroyed in dirt. Like it was beyond filthy. And I've made videos on how to take that spring that's in the buttstock apart, and I've done videos of how to do this with the gun. I'm like, this is the perfect opportunity to do a video on disassembling the whole gun. So I disassembled it, I made the video, I assembled it back, and I hadn't put the camera back on. I didn't put my sling back on. I'm like, I'll just take my Stoker and just go. Well, after looking at the shot cam on it, I'm like, man, that's a horrible pattern. Like, what the heck did I do wrong? Like you see bird, and about 30 yards, the patterns open up, and I mean, it's just terrible. Like, what in the world? And I look at the choke, and I'm like, huh, wrong choke, because I'm shooting bismuth. I'm like, I should have had something. but I hear more geese, and about a flock, about 10 or 12 are flying. I'm calling, they're circling, they're honking, I'm honking, they're honking, they fly this way, they fly this way. I got it on video. There ain't two decoys that I put out isn't going to bring in a flock. Like, you maybe can pull one or two off, but you're not bringing in that whole flock with two geese. And they circled and they circled and they left. And by this time, I'm like, wow, I got to start packing up because I got to go to work. So I get out of the blind and I look down on the ground and I pick my holes up because it is a cow pasture and I'm trying to be a responsible hunter. So I pick my holes up and I'm like, you got to be the dumbest person. No wonder you didn't shoot the bird. I was using 2 3/4 and they were number 4s. I'm like, no wonder I should have, if I known that, I would have let them get closer. I was trying to hit them with 2 3/4 when I needed a 3 inch and I had the wrong choke in. I'm like, failure on top of failure on top of failure, and the birds flew away without a touch of a pellet, even probably ruffling a feather. I mean, it was bad. But on the flip side, I felt pretty good that I called in 2 geese. So I mean, I'm not a world champion goose caller by any means. So there's that. So, but hopefully we might have some better weather this week coming. So yeah, Jeff, that's terrible what happened in New Orleans. Um, like, I didn't even know that anything even happened to this afternoon. Like I said, um, I was picking my buddy up at 1:30, and off to the coast we went, and we went past this one. Well, we went past more than one, but we went past this one bar, and it's like 3:30 in the morning, and there had to be 100 plus people out there. I'm like, my goodness, it is 3:30 in the morning, and we go past another one, and they're packed, and another one they're packed. And I'm like, man, this is like crazy. Who would be out at this time of the day? And then I'm like, well, we're just as dumb to be out going duck hunting. Um, but not knowing that New Orleans thing, I think happened like at 3 o'clock in the morning or something. So we were going down the road, then hunting, and then coming back. And when I turned on the first football game, that's what they were talking about, was like the game was canceled tonight because of New Orleans. I'm like, what the heck is going on in New Orleans? Like, and I seen somebody on Facebook that said prayers for New Orleans. Like, I'm like, what in the world is going on? And then I pull up the news, and I'm like, well, dang, when did this happen? So yeah, it was definitely crazy. Yeah, Jeff, geese are frustrating. That's for sure, man. Man, if you can get that one solo, oh, he's easy to suck in. Two, iffy, but a whole flock. Man, I don't know how it is. I've been hunting with guides, and they're calling in geese, but they're calling in these big, massive amount of birds, and they're coming to feed in these feed spots. We don't have feed spots. Like I said, these are residentials, and good luck trying to get one of them to, when they pick up, they know where they're going, and it don't matter if you down there waving, flagging 1,000 decoys. That's where they're going, and they ain't stopping. But you get that one solo, and sometimes he can be like, "Sucker, I got you," but you can see, geese are my favorite waterfowl to hunt, mostly just because you can hear them. All right, Jay, got to get to bed. Y'all be safe. All right, Jay, you be safe too. Um, I ain't too far behind you. I don't want to drag out the night myself. Like I said, I've been up since 1 o'clock something, and got to go back to work tomorrow. So, like I said, like what Jeff said too. Um, Prayers go out to the people in New Orleans. Um, like I said, I didn't even know anything even went on to this afternoon. What I've been reading, that person may not have been by themselves. So if you're in a big city or you going somewhere in a big city, definitely keep your eyes open. Uh, we are now in January and inauguration is coming in like 19 days. It wouldn't surprise me if a whole lot of weird stuff don't start happening. So that's one good thing about living in the country. You may be affected by what goes on, but you're not affected by it. But regardless, a lot of people got killed and a lot of people were injured. I know there was some kind of altercation there at the end with the police, and I don't know. It's probably too soon to even know what's going on. So that's all I got for this week. Like I said, if you in the South or anywhere in that Mississippi, let's just say Mississippi Flyway over into the South, um, you need to go ahead and start getting prepared for this storm. Um, Worst case, prepare for the worst. Um, Extra food canned. That stuff ain't gonna go bad. You can eat it in 3 4 weeks. Take it to the duck blind and eat it or something. But start preparing now because I feel like something's gonna happen. So all right, Jeff, I appreciate you coming on. And we're gonna go ahead and call this one tonight. Like I said, just talking a little bit of duck hunting, a little bit of football, and trying to figure out what this weather's going to do. So y'all stay safe. And by this time next week on Wednesday at 8 o'clock, we will definitely know more that's what's going on. And also, before we leave, I want to thank y'all for being subscribers. Uh, we hit 14K, which is very impressive. Hit 13K, and then a couple of shorts took off, and I am at 14,254 subscribers, and I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Just tell people about the channel, and then hopefully y'all enjoying it. I'm enjoying it, so y'all be safe, and I'll see y'all next week. See y'all next Wednesday at 8 o'clock. Matthew Knight with Satura Investors out of Charlotte. There's the information. The link to his website is scrolling across the banner down at the bottom, and it's also in the description. Today's episode is about helping business owners and working professionals like you who share a passion for the outdoors shooting sports, zeroing them in to their long-term financial goals. So if you need any information or contact or any other questions, contact Matthew. Also, go check out Salt Creek Ammo. This triple curl TSS is some of the best TSS I have ever shot. This is for waterfowl edition. It's made for waterfowl. So if you're going to shoot a species that you've been chasing for a long time, don't use no cheap ammo. You pay good money to go on a trip. You got great guns. Don't cheap out on cheap ammunition. This TSS is amazing. It's got number 7s, number 8s, and he has number 9s. So go check out saltcreekammo.com. Here you will find any kind of ammo you're looking for. He has custom loads, TSS in 10 gauge, 12 gauge, 20 gauge, low pressure ammunition. You got Predator ammunition, turkey ammunition, anything you're looking for, give Keith a call. Also to the channel, Kicks Industries, most people will know them as Kick Chokes, has came on board And I have done a bunch of series lately on waterfowl choke tubes, turkey choke tubes, deer choke tubes. So go check out Kick's website for all of the chokes that can fit your guns. Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC, has partnered up with the channel. It is your go-to provider for all your hauling needs. They are not just any hauling service. They are an active DOT interstate hotshot hauling provider. Flint Ridge Service, LLC, prides itself in its reliable transportation services. This team ensures that your cargo is delivered safely and on time no matter the distance. Whether you need to transport goods across the county or state line, they have the capacity and the expertise to meet your hauling needs. Equipped with a smooth riding 40-foot air ride equipped trailer and a max hauling capacity of 20,000 pounds, there's no load too big or too small that they can't handle. Look no further than Flint Ridge Hauling Service, LLC.